to Westeros. So is Khaleesi. Hey everybody, it's Samuel Gray here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I'd like to take a quick moment to remind you to subscribe and hit that bell. There should be a button over here somewhere, right down in that left corner. If not, do it under the video. Game of Thrones Season 7 is upon us, and it was glorious. Coming into this season, we knew that it's going to be full of story and action right away, and we're not going to get much filler because they reduced the episode the amount of episodes down to 7 episodes. That means that every episode we see this season and next season is going to move at a quicker pace and very much just pile in everything we need. I love that it picks up right where the last season left off. We see Arya Stark wearing Walder Frey's face, and he calls in the rest of the Freys. Does a reverse red wedding. It reminded me a lot of the idea of Kaiser Cersei and the Usual Suspects, and this idea that she's creating a boogeyman. Funny, because that's how the Faceless Men work. They're faceless. And so even though she could have said, I'm Arya Stark, and blah, 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 and instead she just said, the North remembers. Let them know that winter has come. Just like Kaiser Cersei, she leaves one person alive to tell the tale. So I love the scene between Jaime and Cersei. I think this scene is important because it shows the two different headspaces between Jaime and Cersei, and the idea is she's holding on to power. Meanwhile, he's thinking about family and what's important to him. And what's great about that is that ultimately it's about what you're fighting for. If you're fighting just to hold on to power, you're going to lose. I honestly don't think we're going to see Jaime survive the 2 seasons. But what I do think we're going to see is that when Cersei falls, we've seen Jaime do the right thing and kill the Mad King because it was what was best for Westeros. I think that we might see Jaime kill Cersei because I love that they showed that he was a perfect tactician. Just this idea that he knows everything by mind. He's got Westeros down pat in his mind. He can imagine it. He can see it. And I think it's important because I think he's going to end up being a general for Jon in the wars to come. I think, if not Jon, Dany, because that's sorely what they're missing is that tactical, this is what we need to do. Okay, so to address the scene at the wall with Bran and Mira Reed, I found this scene to be a bit disjointed. I wasn't sure how I felt about it because it seemed somewhat forced. Because when Ed opens the door and Mira and Bran are there, he's like, "Are you wildlings?" At this point, we know that the wildlings have an alliance with the wall, and they're allowed to come over south of the wall. So it seemed really peculiar that that was even an issue, and it should have just been, "Who are you?" If he had asked why they're wildlings or even questioned their identities, it made no sense to me. But then I did love that Mira sat there and tried to be like, we're this, and then Bran's just like, nope, I know who you are. You've done this and you've done this. And he just drops some knowledge that only people who've been in those places at those times should know. So of course they let him in. I love this idea of the army of the dead just cloaking themselves in the storm of the winter that's coming down. I believe they had said that he is making a storm around himself, but he's not in control of the winter itself. I have a feeling that like Pirates of the Caribbean with Davy Jones, and there has to be somebody on the Dutchman, I think we're going to find out that there has to be a Night King. And I feel like he is a force that brings balance to Westeros and the world. That there's fire, a champion of fire, there has to be a champion of ice. And that the two go back and forth to create a balance in Westeros. My theory is that because George R.R. Martin said that the ending's going to be bittersweet, I think we're going to have Jon end up becoming the new Night King to try and control the army and kind of keep things in balance. I think that's what's going to happen. What's awesome about that thought is that it rebuts off of what the Archmaester was saying, how You know, every time they thought this war was happening, when they thought Aegon the Conqueror came, the world was ending. When they thought Robb's rebellion happened, they thought that was going to be the end of the world. Every time something happens, they think it's going to be the end of the world. But the world keeps on going anyway. And I like this idea that the Night King isn't bringing the end of the world. He's just bringing change and balance, and that the world's going to keep going on. Which brings me to the montage. The montage with Samwell was awesome. It was a well-placed, much-needed bit of humor in the episode. A lot of the episode was dealing with tensions and we got to get this person in order and we got to kill these people and we got to do this. And so it was really nice to have this moment in the middle of the show almost that just really let you take a minute to breathe, be less serious, and just laugh. Just this idea that the soup and the bedpans looked exactly identical. Not just the contents, but the actual pans and bowls themselves looked almost identical. And I thought that that was hysterical. One of the other top things I loved was the Hound scene. I love, him becoming a believer, and it really shows how far he's come. I liked the callback, and that it was nice to see in this season him come back to somebody that he had wronged, and then in a way do right by them by giving them a proper burial, by giving them that respect. When he was going on about, why would the Lord of the Light bring you back to life? You're nothing special. He wasn't so much addressing that, so much as addressing himself. He was questioning himself, like, what's important about me? Why am I with you? Why am I? And so to see him look into the fire and realize that there is a bigger picture and realize that he has a part to play in that, it was really fantastic to get to see that. Khaleesi coming back to Westeros was fantastic, and I was glad that they left it to the end, and I was glad that it was so short and to the point. I was glad that she came in, she rolled in up there, goes up to longingly looks at the throne, longingly looks through her ancestral home. She hasn't been here since she was born, so she's never even really seen it. This is the first time she's actually seeing it. And she goes up to the war room and looks down at the battle map that her ancestors created. And she looks down at it and was like, let's begin. And I love that that's how it ended. What's also particularly awesome about this scene is it creates this dichotomy between her and Cersei and how they're each looking at their war maps, because neither one of them is privy to the fact of what's coming for them. And I love that with Jon, he doesn't have a war room. He doesn't have a map. He's just trying to unite the people. He's trying to unite everybody. And so this idea of drawing out a map and segregating areas means nothing to Jon, whereas to the other two rulers of Westeros, they are just concerned with, we have this enemy, and I love the idea that they need to fix that. I loved Euron Greyjoy. His scene was brief. It wasn't long, maybe 10 minutes at best. But he reached this level of hate for me that exceeded Joffrey Baratheon's. Joffrey did things, and he did awful things, but he was a kid doing awful things. He didn't see a big picture. He's doing horrible things with the bigger picture in mind. And like Cersei, I love that they tried parallels between him right away. They are really fighting for the wrong reasons. All they care about is power, and all they care about is ruling everything. And for that reason, they're both gonna fall. I love the idea that Euron even throws it in Jaime's face. I have two good hands, as though he's like, I'm going to take what's yours, whether you like it or not. And again, this is going to create a divide between what Cersei thinks should be done and what Jaime thinks should be done, and will eventually push Jaime more to abandoning his sister. Because I think in his head, the person he loved is gone. Have you seen this week's episode of Game of Thrones? Let me know what was your favorite part in the comments below. Also, let me know what you really look forward to seeing in future episodes. Thanks for watching. As always, you can subscribe up here, right up here. Here's my latest video over here. Here's another video you might like down here. And until next time, we'll see you.